To let everybody know, there's an opportunity when failure happens, when a moment that you are not as successful as you wanted to invest that opportunity to reap a reward.
Welcome to the Howie and Beastmode podcast, where we discuss all things business, including growth, strategy, and execution, as well as personal and professional development. Let's join Howie and Beastmode in conversation.
Last week. And then before customer engagement is number 1 week after that's tonight, basically. After that, it's listening to customers in the sales process, listening to customers during the time they are a customer, and listening to customers even after they depart. So yeah, I just wanted to cover you because your connection was. So, yeah. So tell us some more what's hard with regard to the customer listening. I know listening is a big deal to you. I mean, I can learn a lot from you in this area.
Yeah, listening is important. I know that I'm not an expert, but it's something that I'm cognitively aware that it may be, I feel like it's a weakness, but I feel like it's one that it's a weakness for all of us. And that I'm aware that I want to focus on it. And so I'm trying to be transformative in my thoughts and how to be a listener. How can I listen even before opportune time to listen? How early can I start listening? And how late can I keep listening? That's really my spectrum is trying to capture and broaden my, I guess my terminology would be increase my capacity for listening. And so that's really what I'm hoping that we get through in this series.
Love it. Yeah, the topic of listening before engagement, the question to somebody when they're first logging on here would be, why do I want to focus as a business person on kind of like listening before the customer is even engaged, right? Before the process. Why do I listen? That's a good question. That's a fair question. I think we've got some things to cover there, but give us a little bit of an overview of why maybe it's important. And I'll give you one after that, but why do you think it's important to start listening before the customer is even engaged?
Well, the earlier that we can listen, oftentimes we can catch things, customer issues or customer excitements, or we can catch opportunities early on. The earlier that we can catch them, the greater that we can maximize on them. Oftentimes we're waiting for a customer to reach out. We're waiting for their issue to become a big issue. And now that potential customer is now reaching out to us. Well, they're also reaching out to 5 other competitors and they're shopping. And so if I can catch their issue before they realize it's an issue, but point it out to them that it's an issue, now I look like a savior and a guide to alleviate their issues. I'm almost like their business prophet, coming in things that they don't see. But it's all because I'm actively listening and I'm hearing things that they're saying, and they don't even realize that they're telling me things.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, and by the way, in terms of sort of like the idea of being a prophet in business, helping people understand what's coming in the future and those kinds of things. I think part of listening pre-engagement, why that matters to me is if I'm aware of the market is suffering, especially by listening, I can make my solutions better for one thing. I think my marketing is more relevant. I think my selling approach can be more empathetic. And that doesn't just mean kinder, it also just means more tailored to them, but kinder too. So yeah, I think the marketplace about what customers are listening is a fundamental part of market research. I mean, when I started to back in work, but maybe for somebody else, I don't know. It didn't work out. I closed it down after a few years, about 2015, maybe something like that. But when I was building that, I did some customer listening by going to business mentors and getting their opinion. And I did customer listening by seeing if the marketplace already had a solution like I was going to be offering, where you can go online and honor people. And I talked to family and friends, and I did a lot of listening that way. But the problem with that customer listening is I was kind of listening for what I wanted to hear. So I was filtering it through, I needed a yes, right? So I think if you guys, and so then it fails, So if you guys can think of your business not listening with a motive, which is so hard, because I know you're excited about your idea, whatever it is. And I'm sensitive to that. I blew $125,000. I know. I get to own this lesson for life, guys. But yeah, I think you can have a great idea. How great of an idea is it to go honor people? Like, that's a great idea. Doesn't mean it's a business, right? Maybe I'll even revive it in a free way in some point, a little bit lower cost, maybe. So, because I think it's a really important topic. But I think listening in the marketplace, finding ways of getting honest feedback, not just from your mom. She's going to lie to you. Your mom's job is to lie to you and to tell you it's a great idea. And that's okay. But, find ways of getting honest feedback and listening before customers are engaged. What's a loss of days if you're only listening when they're engaged. You already built the thing. So anyway, I'm just spitballing a few surrounding, kind of like orbiting around this.
No, I love it. I think you're right on point. And I really do think that we could talk for a very long time about why it's important and things like that. And I'm really hoping that by this point in time, we've between last episode and the start of this, that you're grasping how important that it is, and how there's some opportunity for self-reflection and self-awareness to increase. And it's not minuscule. There's a drastic, exponential opportunity to increase right here. And it's just through listening.
It's good.
Doesn't cost anything.
It doesn't. So that's listening before the customer's engaged, kind of like the why, right? Why would you want to listen before your prospects are engaged? We talked a little bit about product design, marketing messaging, now type people may listen to, and types that you may, right? I talk to somebody, I do this job, like do job coach every week with one person. I'm getting really backed up on that, so who knows if I can maintain it or what I'll be doing with that. But I talked to Carolyn on, no, I didn't. I talked to Sandy about a week and a half ago. And hi, Sandy, if you're listening. But Sandy has this idea, and what I told her is, your idea is good, but I think you should go seek out investors on that, because kind of build it out a little bit, but don't spend very much money. Go investment, because an investor, and they'll criticize it, right? Versus your mom, who's just going to tell you you're so beautiful, or you're. I think another way you can really do pre-customer listening is looking at things like Yelp. If you're going to go start a tree trimming business, right? Why not go read every single comment of every single tree trim business in your intro, and build your business, customer request and ask the things that, this way. Yelp has compliments, and Yelp or Google has comments now too, with, you can go search for a business and it'll have comments on there. So Yelp and Google are the two big ones that I know about. And go read the comments and use customer listening for existing businesses.
Yeah, that's a great example of trying to capture, they're speaking to somebody, they're not talking to you, but can I go listen to what they're saying before they may be talking to me? That is an excellent example, an excellent thought process of just trying to capture, what are you saying? What are your potential issues before I try to capture you as my customer? Can I find out what you're dealing with before I even talk to you? Man, what a transformative way to take a cold call or whatever to steaming hot, is walk in telling them what their problem is and how you're going to solve it.
Mhm.
you know, and it's not a fake thing. Hey, I saw that you posted this. I saw that you commented this about this business, and I want to let you know that's real, and this is what we plan to do about it. Man, that would transform me.
Or if you're effective marketing, messaging, and branding, and all that, or sales, or leadership, or ownership, or whatever you're doing, you know, if you can find those existing sources of input, I think that's really, really big. If you can't find an existing source, try to have a conversation with 10 potential buyers. Now, let me tell you where I got this idea. Beastmode is going to be obsessed with this, by the way. There's a company so one of the companies is develop feedback software. Probably not a surprise to you, because I love feedback. So I'd love to. I'm not a coder, so who knows if this will ever happen. But someday I would love to start a software company or buy one where they have software that helps to gather feedback, right? And so because some of that software already exists, I was watching a YouTube one time about one of those company CEOs, and he actually, before he started this company about feedback, he actually got feedback from 10 CEOs to see if they would buy it. If he built this and if it did this, would they buy it, right? So what's great about that is he got feedback, and he also got buy-in from people who at least kind of verbally said that they would buy it, right? And for a certain price range or whatever it was. And so what's great about that was that the market, in that case, you don't have Yelp, you don't have, because maybe maybe your category or whatever you're thinking about doing doesn't exist. Or maybe your category does exist, but you just want to go seek some industry feedback. Go find 10 people that'll talk to you, you know, and, you know, or start with 5. But, you know, this guy was like 10 or 20 or something. I think it's 10. And I think a lot of them, like 8 out of 10 or some high number, said they would buy this thing. He started the software company, and, you know, it has grown, and I think they have hundreds of users, maybe thousands that do it. So yeah, I think another way to do customer listening is to go find and to just go talk to business owners or executives in your category and say, hey, will you buy this diagnostic imaging if we have this idea, will you buy it? You know, and if so, what would you want it to look like? So I think there's some great about that is I think that, you know, people are willing to have that kind of conversation. I think it'll be a really neat conversation for you. I think it'll be a really rewarding business lesson for you, and it'll do them some good as they kind of think about that category of solving business problems. So, you know, whether it's Yelp or seeking future buyers, I think those are all, you know, some ideas.
Yeah, I'm having the thought that we've been talking about this perspective of I'm actively listening to gain customers or to potentially grab a customer early. You know, I also think there's the opposite perspective of it. You know, some of this actively listening early on could help, that's not my customer, or I want them to be my customer because of the issues that they're having. There's no way my business, my product, my service could solve what they're looking for. And so here, instead of trying to build, I know, Howie, you love building these elaborate proposals and spending all this time. Well, I wouldn't want to spend 2 weeks building a proposal and this, that, and the other, and then finding out there's no way that my product, service, or idea would be a fit. So if I can actively listen early, then it for me, I love clarifying early on who is my customer. It saves me a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy. If I can clarify it earlier because I'm listening, even better.
Does your Enneagram, you're an 8, how does your Enneagram kind of help you or hinder you? Or because you mentioned it during our prep, and I'm just thinking out loud here, I'm just curious, how do you interact with that Enneagram in terms of business listening and prioritization and stuff like that?
It's not a strong suit, but again, as I've talked about, I've put basically these road bumps that kind of alert me that I'm not listening, I'm not being empathetic. These are things that, as an Enneagram 8, It doesn't mean they're negative things, attributes. It just means they're my weaknesses. And so, but if I shine the light on it and I forcefully try to get better, and I'm working on them, then in conjunction with my 8, which means I'm a challenger, I want to do well, I want to accelerate, it just really emphasizes those things. And also as an 8, I don't like wasting time. Okay. I'm going this direction. We're doing this, and I don't have time to waste on a task 2 times, And so what I find is that being empathetic, actively listening, these things that I don't like to do and really don't want to do, that if I do them, it actually benefits what I'm trying to do, which is get to the goal, achieve this, conquer this. And so
that's cool, man. Yeah, I don't know how my biggest problem, so I'm a 1. I don't really know how, and we don't have to unpack mine right now, because we don't have that. We got like 7 minutes left, so not much on. But I am curious how a 1 does in terms of listening. And then I will tell you that one of my challenges that's fairly extreme, well, it feels extreme sometimes, is that with ADD, I'll kind of tune out. I don't mean to, but sometimes I'll even be honest about it. Like, I'm sorry, I had an ADD moment. Can you just give me that last 2 sentences? You know what I mean? And so people, if you're honest, can be pretty compassionate. You've heard me probably do that before or similar. But it's a struggle, it really is a struggle. So I think intentional listening is good. I will tell the guys and the gals that one thing that helps me with ADD, I don't think I have HD. That's why I said it that way. I know people say ADHD. I don't think I have the hyperactive part, just more the ADD part of it. But that helps me is like being more like active listening. Like, I'll repeat it back to you. You know what I mean? So I also find that if I'm conducting the questions, I stay interested and my mind doesn't wander. You know what I mean? So it's tough. There are barriers to listening at a personal level, but at least I think we've covered a few ideas that are pretty good at a bigger picture level.
Yeah. And again, the rewards, I mean, we've hit them. The rewards are you can snag customers before they become somebody else's customer. The rewards are you can save, hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of dollars by not making mistakes after the fact. The rewards are you can clarify your customer base and not spend time, effort, and energy on leads and developing something. So the rewards are endless, and it's just by listening sooner and actively doing so with the purpose behind it. Just to really put a nail in that marker. But I guess really to wrap things up, the last couple of minutes here is actionable things that you can do. We've hit on a couple of those, but what's kind of the first thing that comes to mind as an action item that you can do? You already said Yelp. Do you have any others that you think?
Yeah, I think listening with Yelp, listening with Google, listening by having 10 conversations, listening by seeking investment. Literally, some people on this phone call right now, it's not a phone call, some people on this Zoom should literally seek out an investor that you have no intention necessarily of prioritizing an investment from, but you just want the brutal feedback, literally. So I think those are a few strategies. Also, I think in order to make sure if maybe you do have some ADD and stuff like that, even if you don't have the ADD or the different challenges that Beastmode was talking about, I still think having an agenda, like come up with like 5 things you want to know about your business, right? Doesn't mean that you have to stick to that, but I think at least it helps me, and maybe that's an ADD coping. I had someone tease me about that recently. One of my posts, they said, I gave some job seeker tips. This guy goes, "This sounds like ADD coping tips." I was like, wow, I didn't realize I was manifesting that even in my posts. But to survive, you got to do what you got to do. But yeah, I think having an agenda, ADD or not, having an agenda, like I'm going to go seek out these answers from these different sources that Beastmode and I have been kind of rapping about.
Yeah,
and then
I think
I'll just give you one more. Try to sell like
Yeah.
One quick more. I wish I would have found a way to do a mini version of my full site, for like 10 grand or something. Just as people behaviorally would do it, would go on or something like that. Find a way to do it without the full thing. You know what I mean? And so that's one test you could do, guys. Another test, and this is all about listening, is try to sell 5 of them. If you can sell 5 something, there might be something interesting there. If no one will spend $5 on your stupid idea, you need to be listening.
Yeah. But what about, I have a thought of just, there's a lot of articles, or like you can seek out like trending topics on social media and just see what prospective customers, but not customers, maybe you want them to be, or maybe you want customers who are like this brand, like this label. See what they're saying about the topic, and just gather that feedback in advance. What are they saying positively, negatively? What are things that they say they wish they had, but they
so smart.
They didn't have, and
love that.
And just compare it to what they're already doing.
Love that.
That's
genius.
Free feedback.
Let me spit on that real quick. So what you just said was so dope. So think about it, guys. If you're like an engineer, okay? Actually, that really bores me. I'm not gonna talk about something that bores me. Let's say here's one. So I used to want to be a nurse. Before I was in sales, I thought about being a nurse. So let's say you're going to go to nurse forums. Let's say you want to design like nurse software or nurse special scrubs. You have an idea, whatever, maybe. Do what Beastmode just said and go to like nursing forums or like Reddit. I'm sure Reddit's got a community for nurses, right? Facebook groups, and freaking just read like 500 posts and see what do they struggle with? Build those things into your solution. That's a cool idea. Love it.
Yep. Listening, guys, it's important. Sometimes it stretches you. We did a whole series on stretching, but just consider the benefits, the outcomes, time saved, cost, dollars saved. It's endless. So
that's a freaking awesome conversation. This has been a really good one. Guys can rewind it. Next week we'll cover listening in the sales process. So hang on.
Yep. See you next week.
I feel like sometimes we're a little too agreeable in the way we deliver, and because we don't want to, kind of burn a bridge or make someone feel stupid or whatever,